Yo, in today's video, we'll be looking at scary and creepy TikToks that you should not watch before bed.
What is up? It's your girl back with Killer Cases with the Crystal Pusher, and I would like to talk about this uninhabited home. Now, it's not the nicest, obviously, but it has an insane story attached. Actually,
A lot of houses in my town that look like that.
It's in Indianapolis, and it belongs to Leander and his wife, Betty Bradley, who are the grandparents of Ken and Carrie Allen. And Sharon was their mother. She divorced from their father after years of fighting when Ken was 14 and Carrie was 4, and the two just decided to split up their kids. So Sharon kept Carrie and Ken moved to Florida with his father. And living with Sharon on her own, Carrie ended up being very coddled and codependent on her mother. And then Ken had some behavioral issues living with his father in Florida. As Ken grew into adult age, he just constantly got into legal trouble with theft, counterfeit, things like that. He had a severe gambling addiction as well. Now, his grandparents will often bail him out whenever he got into trouble, whether it be sending him money or literally bailing him out of jail. But then he ended up arrested and sentenced to 14 months in prison, and at that time, they decided it was time to cut him off. And he constantly spoke with Carrie and Sharon while he was incarcerated, explaining that he had this big grand idea to make their lives better once he was released from prison. And once he did get released, he went back to Indiana to live with his mother Sharon and his sister Carrie. So when he does get home, he immediately tells Carrie upon the day of his release what his plan was exactly. So the plan actually was to murder his grandparents. He knew they had about $200,000 stored at their home and on top of credit cards and other assets. So he's like, let's take them out. I want mom to help too. And Carrie's like, bet, let's do it.
That's the master plan,
on December 30th, 2004, Ken approached his mother with his plan, like, hey, let's kill your mom and dad because we can just steal their money and that way we'll have a better life. Sharon's like, no way, I'm not killing my parents. What the hell is wrong with you? And Ken's like, okay, bet. He said, get down or lay down. So he talks to Carrie and he's like, hey, mom actually isn't down like I thought she would be. So unfortunately, she got to go too. And Carrie's like, okay, bet. So around 9 p.m. that
These
night,
people
Carrie
crazy.
goes into the living room. She turns the TV volume all the way up and then goes into her mother's bedroom where her mother is sleeping. And then Ken follows behind her. He goes and sits on top of their mother and puts a pillow over her face to smother her and then decides to stab her through the pillow multiple times until she was no longer alive. This is literally the tip of the iceberg in this story. Like I haven't even stepped my foot in the water. So please stay tuned for part.
The 1980s.
People are crazy. Like, what could just make you want to do these type of things? It's wild, ain't it? And she's talking about part 2. Y'all, if y'all can find the part 2, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section because I do want to watch that part 2.
7 Christmas Rampage. Hi, my name is Ethan, and trigger warning, this is a dark case. On December 28, 1987, Ronald Gene Simmons walked into a law firm in Russellville, Arkansas, where he shot at a receptionist that he was infatuated with. However, she didn't like him in return. Then he went into an office building of an oil company and shot 2 executives, unaliving one and injuring the other. He then drove to a convenience store and a former place of work and shot 2 more people. However, thankfully, they both survived. And the last place he went to was a Woodline Motor Freight Company where he shot a woman. However, she did survive as well. After all of these brutal attacks were committed, he then sat down and waited for police to arrest him. His motive was unknown. However, he was sentenced to death and then unalived on June 25th, 1990.
Horrifying website.
I feel like some people just have an obsession with just like unaliving people or something. Like, what else could it be? They don't really ever have a true reason. You know what I mean? They just do it.
Sites on the internet that you should never visit, part 1. GoodbyeWarden.com gives the last words of 565 Texas inmates who were executed on death row. And some of the statements are absolutely gut-wrenching, with many asking someone to take care of their children when they're gone, and others insisting upon their innocence. DeathDate.info is a dark, morbid site that asks you to enter your name, age, weight, and height before spitting out the exact date that it thinks you're going to die. The site also provides you with 3 words that it says will be related to your death in some way. PlaneCrashInfo.com has an extensive database filled with recordings, pictures, and transcripts of the final moments of a plane crashing. And MidnightInTheDesert.com has unedited footage of the 67 exorcisms of Annalicia Mikkel. And trust me, her demonic screams will haunt your nightmares.
I've never visited any of those websites.
Whatever you do, do not wear red. In the 1940s, a series of mysterious disappearances occurred in Vermont, in an area known as the Bennington Triangle. 6 people disappeared, one after the other. What seemed like a strange coincidence was that all 6 were wearing red. Glastonbury Mountain is at the center of the triangle. 6 persons went missing in the area between 1943 and 1950, and none of the cases were ever solved. What was the same for all of them was that they all disappeared into thin air, and they were wearing red. The Bennington Triangle has a history of UFO sightings, Bigfoot attacks, and Native American curses. Many people also claim that the area is a window to another dimension because of the many strange occurrences. Due to everyone eventually choosing to move, the town has become a ghost town. But although the town is completely deserted and abandoned, a series of mysterious deaths continues. However, if you ever visit Glastonbury Mountain, just make sure that, is this mummy actually blinking? Deep in the Italian catacombs, a mystery lies hidden behind a glass case. This is the body of 2-year-old Rosalia Lombardo, who died of the Spanish flu in 1920. Her father, in a moment of despair, asked a taxidermist to preserve her body as perfectly as possible, and preserve her he did, down to her hair, skin, organs, and even her eyes. But something strange has been reported by visitors to the catacombs. One day visitors reported seeing the girl blinking several times a day. Despite the disbelief of many, reports of the child's blinking eyes persist. A documentary team was called in to investigate, and they captured what they believed to be the explanation. It's an optical illusion caused by lighting and temperature fluctuations throughout the day. The mystery of the blinking mummy may never be fully solved.
Go ahead and science it up for us all, right?
Haha funny. For all the jokes they get, the biggest problems in Australia are the ones that aren't supposed to be there. Like, did you know there's a rampant feral camel problem down there right now? It's exactly what it sounds like. So a bunch of camels were airdropped from British India and Afghanistan way back when for like transportation and stuff. Well, the camels started cameling and nobody was about to stop them. Because me personally, I don't have the tools to block a camel, and I'm sure you don't either. And around the 1920s, people started using cars, so the camels pretty much got abandoned. But like, one does not simply abandon camels and not see consequences. The consequences were that in the 70s, there were an estimated 20,000 feral camels in Australia. Today, that number's escalated to... that is a comma. About 1 million, give or take, probably give. The government did say it was on site with the desert donkeys, but it's the same country that lost the war to an overgrown, undercooked drumstick. Not only are these camels raising farmers' blood pressures, some of these camels will pull up pipes and destroy toilet blocks. Because again, who gonna stop them? Sometimes they get attracted to the moisture in AC units and attempt to break into houses. One time a herd of 6,000 pulled up on a small town of about 300 people looking for water. Cause only in Australia would the chances of being jumped by a pack of sand llamas over a glass of Poland Springs have the audacity to not be zero.
Cosas que los humanos debemos ver antes de morir.
I'd be scared. What is this?
Jugando aquí con mi hija y con mi sobrino. Aquí estamos. Y de repente se puso Alexa y está haciendo estos ruidos. Ay, no.
What's going on here?
Se abrió la puerta. Métanse abajo de las cobijas. Métanse abajo de las cobijas.
Did that door just open by itself?
Se abrió la puerta. ¿Vivi? Alexa, ya cállate.
Yo, this gotta be real, because who would just want to scare their child the way that boy was just spooked?
Amigos, Alexa me está hablando otra vez. Alexa me está hablando, amigos. ¿La ventana? Ahí está el jardín. No mames. No mames. No mames. No mames. No mames.
What is that? Oh, no. I got chills watching that, y'all. I can't even lie. What am I
Cosas que
looking
los
at right
humanos
now?
debemos ver antes de morir, parte 45.
Alright, so I'm thinking Creepy Doll is gonna go with the creepy books, right? That's the best one. Stop! Remy!
No, no way.
Remy? Stop! Stop messing with the lights.
I'm out of there. I'm gone. Out the front door. So you finna burn the door, huh?
Blowing down, they're made of styrofoam. Either way, the creepiest building on the block is always going to be. Anyway, I thought about like adding stuff to it, but what the fuck? Jim!
Whoa, there's two people out there by the church just staring. And they got horns.
Just gonna stare at each other for like, what? You got me. I don't know what the fuck their problem is. I keep doing this shit. I'm just gonna stare at them then.
Right in front of the church. Gone. Yeah, I'm gone too, man. In the house.
Go. Right, just go to your room. It's fine. No, just stay in your room.
This gotta be legit, like.
Fuck! What do you fucking want, man?
Yo, there's some horror movie type stuff, yo. Oh no. I feel like I'm at a movie theater.
Who's there?
Nope. Nope. He walking in the house. He just yelling, "Who's that?" Like they gonna say something.
Come out!
This is why you should fear for your life if you buy or sell items on Facebook Marketplace. 56-year-old Denise
I literally just did that today. I don't know if I want to watch this one, y'all.
Williams of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, wanted to buy a refrigerator for her boyfriend. She found one listed on...
Whoa, she bought a whole fridge on Facebook. Now, I didn't go that far. I don't like to buy appliances or anything on Facebook, but still.
Facebook Marketplace. The seller was 26-year-old Joshua Gorgon. Denise went to his apartment alone to check out the fridge, but never came out. On Monday, she was reported missing by her family, and police were able to track her using her phone and information from a Facebook account. She was found dead from multiple stab wounds at Joshua's apartment. Joshua was arrested and charged with criminal homicide. When he was interviewed by Cambria County detectives, he admitted to stabbing Williams to death with a kitchen knife following an argument over the cost of the refrigerator.
Reddit user Wolfhound227 was exploring the basement of an abandoned church, all alone, when all of a sudden he heard footsteps coming from up above him.
Below the church right now. You'll hear it again.
Y'all hear anything yet? I don't hear nothing. Nah, I do.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
What do you guys think? Is this something that's easily explainable? Or is this paranormal?
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew.
Paranormal.
Part 12. When a person is electrocuted via electric chair, they feel absolutely everything. They're completely aware of their body being deep-fried in real time. And one person who survived the first round of electrocution said it tasted like cold peanut butter. As you're watching this video, your internal organs are constantly moving around inside you. Your armpit is where most of your important nerves in your arms are, so if you stab it, it will leave your arm completely useless. Ted Bundy, the serial killer, used to work at a suicide hotline. Scaphism was a form of ancient torture where someone's body was tied between two boats and they were covered in milk and honey, and bugs and other animals would feast on their body for days. Cotard's delusion is a rare condition where people literally think they're dead, and many of them ask to be taken to a cemetery to be with other dead people.
Horror movie.
Oh, okay, so that's based off a true movie? Now that's creepy.
Creepy crayon. Crown. Crayon. Creepy.
Jasper Rabbit was struggling in school. He was flunking math, he was failing spelling, the only subject he was passing was art. Jasper needed serious help. That's when he found the crayon. It was purple, pointy, and perfect. And somehow, it looked happy to see him. That night, Jasper knew he had to study for his spelling test, but Tales from the Carrot Patch was on. By the time it was over, he was too tired to study. The test was a disaster. Jasper couldn't remember how to spell a single word. That's when he noticed something strange. Jasper picked up the crayon, and immediately he spelled all the words correctly. When he got his test back, he got an A+ and a sticker. The crayon looked pleased. Creepy, but cool. After dinner, Jasper settled in to play Bunny Ball 3. Math homework first, said Dad. Fine, moaned Jasper. That's when he saw it, scrawled in peculiar purple penmanship. Who needs math when you have Bunny Ball 3? 3 hours later, he fell asleep, his game in one hand, the purple crayon in the other. When Mrs. Lopshire announced a surprise math quiz, Jasper panicked. He reached for a pencil, but instead, his hand wrapped around the crayon. Suddenly, math seemed easy. He knew when to carry the one. He knew when to borrow from the bigger numbers. It was like the crayon knew exactly
I feel like
what
I'm in
to
the
do.
kindergarten class,
After the quiz, he
class
saw
right
it
now.
written on his backpack. Jasper felt a shiver go up his spine. The next day was the deadline for the poster contest. Jasper had been working on his entry for weeks. It needed just a few finishing touches. The purple crayon rolled across the table all by itself, but Jasper ignored it. He shuddered. He scrubbed the writing off the table. He zipped the crayon into his pencil case. He tried to forget all about the crayon. But when he woke up, his precious artwork was better than ever. It was a horrifying masterpiece in purple. Fantastic work, cried Mr. Hoppypot. You should be very proud. But Jasper didn't feel proud. He felt eked out, freaked out, creeped out. When he got home, Jasper descended into the deepest, darkest corner of his basement. He put the crayon in a dusty box and locked it tight. He went to bed feeling much better. When he woke up the next day, there, on the mirror, in his pencil case, the creepy crayon, and it looked happy to see him. That day, Jasper got all A+. It was terrible. Enough was enough. Jasper snapped the creepy crayon in two. He melted it in the microwave, and he threw the mess into the garbage. He drifted to sleep that night, feeling relieved. But when he woke up, there, on his wall, it was a mural of him graduating elementary school with straight A's. And worst of all, it was drawn really well. And next to it, the creepy crayon. Purple, pointy, and perfect. All day, no matter what Jasper did, the creepy crayon was there, looking oh so pleased, in his hand, as he aced his vocabulary quiz, in his pocket, as Mrs. Lopshire named Jasper Most Improved Student, in the crowd, as the school
like some
celebrated Jasper
AI
in its special
crayon
assembly.
type stuff.
Things were spinning out of control. Jasper couldn't take it anymore. When he got home, he ran straight to the toilet. He threw the crayon in, and it floated there, spinning slowly. It did not look happy to see him. And then Jasper saw it scribbled inside the bowl. But Jasper dared. That evening, Tales from the Carrot Patch was on, but Jasper studied for his spelling test. His eyes kept darting to his pencil case. No creepy crayon. He flung the toilet lid open. No creepy crayon. He got into bed nervously watching his walls. No creepy crayon. During the test, Jasper spelled ocean wrong, but he spelled courage right. He got a C+. It was glorious. It wasn't an A, but it was his.
We're happy
he headed
you got
home
a
from
C.
school that day, finally feeling free. Far, far away was an old sewer pipe. Out and away floated the purple crayon. Slowly, silently, it drifted for days and weeks. One thing was clear. The creepy crayon would never cause trouble again. Except that's when Elliot Pelican spotted the creepy crayon. It was purple, pointy, and perfect. And somehow, it looked happy to see him. The end.
Let's take a look at one of the most
Yo,
interesting
what was
and
that story
terrifying
about?
short films on the internet. Creatures of the End Time by Moonprod.
Creatures of the End Time.
The video begins by showing us footage of a terrifying gargantuan creature walking slowly across the horizon. The creature is followed closely by a massive tornado which it is completely unfazed by, a demonstration of its immense power and size. The camera then pans around to show us a deserted town. Throughout the town, we are exposed to a multitude of mysterious humanoid shadows that appear to have been separated from their owners. These shadows could just be symbolic, representing a happier time now lost to us. However, they also bear a striking resemblance to the so-called death shadows that can be found after the usage of a nuclear bomb. If that's the case, it means that the military has already attempted to eliminate this creature using the most powerful weapon known to man. And it didn't work. The person filming then ominously declares, "They're here," and we are shown footage of a flock of birds fleeing in one direction, an indicator of disaster before the film comes to an end. In other apocalyptic stories, there is a sense that if we can just survive this event, things will be okay, our lives will go back to normal, and we can begin to rebuild our world. The terror of this film is that it strips that hope away from us. There is no surviving. This is the end. Leave a comment if you're watching this at night, and follow for more.
If you're about to drink cold water,
That's
don't.
a creepy story.
I saw this video today with this guy who was obviously a doctor or something, and it literally made me think, what the... So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a video on it. Basically what he was saying is that cold water is actually...
Not gonna lie, guys, I've been doing this for quite some time. I do not like to drink cold water. It's kind of just a personal preference to me, but I was told when I was younger that cold water does not hydrate you. It kind of just goes right through your body, and if you want to stay hydrated, you need to have room temperature water. And that's just kind of what I do.
really bad for you. What? First of all, it's, you know, you can't drink alcohol, you can't do this, can't do that, but now you can't even drink flipping water. Apparently cold water is actually really bad for your health and your digestive system. I don't know how. Apparently we should all be drinking warm water. But that's not gonna happen. What the hell's going on? What do they want us to do? Just drink or eat nothing? Because it seems like everything is bad for us now. So I mean, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna enjoy my life, do what the hell I want. So honestly, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts and hit that follow button. I'll keep you updated on everything.
Let's talk about what happened to 13-year-old Rachel Mellon Skemp. She was born on October 13th of 1982 and lived in Melrose Park in Illinois. At the age of 3,
that's
her
close
parents
to home.
divorced and her dad moved to Dallas and her mom stayed with her in Illinois. Eventually, her mom started seeing a man named Vincent, and eventually they got married and had 2 children together. Rachel was described as a bubbly person with a great sense of humor. She was the life of the party and was always the most beautiful girl in the room. On January 30th of 1996, Rachel was at school and was having a normal school day, and as the day went on, her friends noticed that she was crying by her locker, so they went to go ask what was wrong. She said she was having a problem, but that she was going to fix it herself, and that is all she said. The following day, on Wednesday, January 31st, Rachel decided to stay home from school because she was having a sore throat and was feeling kind of sick. So her mom left to work, and her stepfather was going to stay home because he wasn't working at the moment. Rachel called her grandma to thank her for the Christmas gifts that she had sent her, and this call took like from 4 to 5 minutes, and her grandma said that this phone call was completely normal, nothing out of the ordinary, but she did notice that at one part in the phone call, Rachel was kind of quiet, and her grandma said, "Is he there?" referring to her stepfather, and she said yes, and then Rachel told her grandmother that she needed to hang up. Her stepfather stated that they played the Nintendo before she decided to go up to her room and take a nap. So once she was upstairs taking a nap, he decided to take the family dog for a walk, even though it was 20 degrees below zero. So he left at 2:30 p.m. and then ended up coming at 3 p.m. He said the reason that he took a while is because the dog broke free from the leash and he was not able to get him, so he just figured that the family dog would just find his way back eventually. At 3:15 p.m., Vincent's youngest daughter comes home and she goes straight to Rachel's room to greet her, and that's when she realizes that Rachel's not even there. So the youngest daughter tells her dad that it seems that Rachel is missing, that she's not even in her room, but he just doesn't seem to care. So once her mom gets home, the youngest daughter tells her that Rachel's missing from her room, so that is when her mom decides to call 911 and report her as missing. Stay tuned for part.
I know it's dark, I know it's bedtime, but does something feel kind of strange with this photo? Alright, so this picture was taken by Bonnie Mathis. She was a backpacker who was staying in the White Rose Hostel in Germany in 2014. She took this photo outside of her room to send to her boyfriend after she was repeatedly hearing noises from the hallways, having not even realized what it was she caught. Before we jump in, I have got to say thank you to you guys for listening to my podcast, Creep Time the Podcast. You made us the 18th top true crime podcast in the entire country. That's a big deal. Thank you for listening, and if you haven't already, please go click the link in my bio. Now, don't forget, Bonnie was backpacking alone through this, and she stopped contacting her family. Eventually, that brings German police back to the hostel where she was last seen. Reporting I saw, she was found to be partially eaten, but it didn't make sense because her bedroom door was still locked from the inside. Then they found this photo, finding this. Someone had been watching her from inside the walls. I do enhance the picture, but no one knows who this was.
Inside the walls? Oh, nah.
We're back with yet again another creepy solo listing. This time we're in the state of Washington and we have this building for almost $1 million. Here is the surrounding area. Already questionable, but let's go on. One of the bathrooms. Not really sure what this space is. Right. It kind of looks like it's in a big elevator. Okay, lots of storage space. It's always with the creepy hatch doors.
Right.
Let's go.
Remind me of a Roblox game.
I don't like it. Seems like a lovely place to have a conversation. Or an interrogation. In the description, it explains that this is a decommissioned radar tower that was supposed to be used by the Air Force, and that it was designed to withstand a nuclear blast within a 1-mile radius. So, it could be yours for $950K.
I'm good. Would y'all buy that for $1 million? I don't know.
Story time. I can actually tag her this time. Her name is Stacy. So Stacy took care of her mom for 2 years after she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. Her mom ended up moving into her home, and one night Stacy had a dream that her mom came to her and said, "Stacy, I am okay." Stacy woke up and thought that the whole dream was weird, being that in the dream her mom was wearing a hospital gown, when the whole time her mom was staying at her house, she would be wearing sweatpants because she was always cold. She went and checked up on her mom, and her mom was perfectly fine. Now fast forward to the day that her mom passed away, which was November 23rd of 2009. Stacy went to bed and woke up to her mom by her side saying, "Stacy, I am freezing." Stacy wakes up, and the first thing that goes through her mind is, oh my god, my mom is at a funeral home right now and she's in a hospital gown, being that she passed away in hospice. She's telling me that she's freezing. Stacy almost drove to the funeral home to make sure her mom was wearing sweatpants, but decided not to, being that it was 2 a.m. and the funeral home was closed. Previously to her mom passing away, Stacy had spoken to her mom and told her that when she passes, to make sure that she hears a specific song to let her know that her mom was okay. Months later, Stacy's at a gas station pumping gas when out of nowhere she hears her mom's voice say, "Stacy, are you listening?" When Stacy stops to listen, she hears the song that her mom and her had agreed on to let her know that her mom was okay. And it was Bad Bad Leroy Brown. Stacy goes, "Well, it's about damn time."
Dang, that's crazy. Makes me want to pay attention a little bit more.
These are the most evil people on Earth, Part 1. Number 1 on our list, David Berkowitz. David Berkowitz, otherwise known as the Son of Sam, was a serial killer who terrorized the area of New York City from about July of 1976 to July of 1977. He started his killing spree in 1975 when he stabbed 2 women with a hunting knife, but 2 years later, after his neighbor's dog supposedly told him to go out and start killing people, he grabbed a .44 caliber bulldog revolver and shot 6 people dead and injured 7.
His neighbor's
After these killings,
dog?
Berkowitz continued to write very taunting letters to the press and the police, promising that until they caught him, he was going to continue to kill more people. But finally, on August 10, 1977, police would move on to search Berkowitz's car, where they would find a duffel bag full of ammunition, a map of his crime scenes, a rifle, and an unsent letter from the son of Sam to the police. And when Berkowitz was arrested, he told the police, "Well, you got me. What took you so long?"
He said, "What took you so long?" That's
what you do if
crazy.
you're walking down the street and you happen to come across the Hatman. In case you forgot what he looks like, this is a quick little reminder. And of course,
Hatman.
story time. The person who submitted this wants to be anonymous. Let's call her Lisa. So Lisa is originally from right down here. I don't want to say the name because I don't want to butcher it. It's an indigenous reserve.
Oh, I thought she was trolling.
Her and her friends were walking down a road called Forgotten Street. When you get to the end of this road and you go to turn, there are no street lights, so everything's completely pitch black. So as they're walking down this road, they're laughing, they're talking, they're having a great time, when out of nowhere, one of the girls just suddenly stops. So Lisa kind of pokes her in the back and says, "Are you okay?" And the girl just points out into the distance and says, "Don't you see that?" When the girls look over in that direction, they see an unusual, tall, skinny man with a trench coat and a top black hat. All 4 girls stand there in shock, not really knowing how to react, when one of them breaks the silence and says, "So who is it for?" Because according to what they've always been told, whenever a top hat man shows up, it's for someone specific. Now this top hat man wasn't touching the ground at all. Like his feet were about 4 inches off the ground. He was practically levitating. Lisa decides to stay behind while the other 3 girls go up to him, and they get so close to him that they can actually put their feet right under where he's levitating, and there's literally nothing there. Lisa states that after this incident, all 3 girls that went up to him and were like messing with him all live horrible lives. All 3 of them suffer from addiction and even worse. She believes that running into him is a bad omen, especially if you go up to him and start like trying to interact with him. She believes the reason why she was saved was because she stayed like 100 feet back. So if you ever run across him on a dark road, go the other way.
You're not gonna catch me on a dark road to see this man in the first place.
Who answered the phone? This is the call.
A young guy wrote, "Last night, a friend rushed me out of the house to catch an opening act at a local bar's music night. After a few drinks, I realized my phone wasn't in my pocket. I checked the table we were sitting at, the bar, the bathrooms.
Couldn't find it anywhere.
So I used my friend's phone to call mine. After 2 rings, someone answered. I heard on the other end a low, raspy giggle.
And then hung up.
I called again, but they didn't answer, and I eventually gave it up as a lost cause. Later that night, I headed home and saw it. I found my phone on my nightstand, right where I left it."
So who answered the phone?
Right.
Who is the giggler? Ever experienced anything creepy like this?
Have you? Let me know. I haven't. Not like that.
These are videos humans were never meant to see, part 25. Okay, so majority of people on Earth do not like spiders, which makes perfect sense because they're extremely creepy. But the video I'm about to show you shows a spider in somebody's house, laying hundreds of babies on the floor, and you can see them all crawl around. Imagine you're in your room at night and this happens to you.
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys know. If you have a phobia for spiders, you might want to skip ahead because this is probably going to be creepy. Look at all those spiders. Give me goosebumps.
This is why I don't stay at creepy cabins. In 2018, a man trying to escape city life was staying in a cabin in the mountains. One morning, he stepped outside. He discovered a red ball resting in his front yard. At first, he thought nothing of it, imagining that his neighbor's children must be tossing it over the fence. He kicked the ball back, went inside, and tried to resume his daily routine. But when night fell, he was awoken by the sound of children laughing outside his window. Determined to investigate, he rushed out of his house only to find that there were no children anywhere in sight. Yet the red ball was back on his property. Confused, he brought it inside his house and tried to sleep. The following day, he went over to his neighbor's house to complain about the kids, but he discovered that his neighbor was an old man living alone and there were no children in the area. That night, the man awoke once again to the sound of children playing on his property. He peered out the window, but there were no children to be seen, only the red ball resting on the ground. He ran downstairs to check on the ball he had brought inside, but it had vanished without a trace. Suddenly, he felt a chill run down his spine as he spotted a strange, stiff figure watching him from afar. The next day, the man left the cabin, never knowing who or what was outside. Follow, because my next story is crazy.
Y'all staying in cabins or no? I probably won't.
Here are my top horror movies based on true stories. Number 1, we're gonna go with the classic, The Strangers. 3 dangerous intruders break into a couple's vacation home and start to torture them. The director stated that he was inspired by the Manson murders and home invasions that happened in his neighborhood when he was a child. Number 2, we have Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, a film where a bunch of birds start to get really violent. So this film was inspired by a real-life event that happened in Capitola, California in 1961, where a bunch of birds just started to nosedive right straight into people. However, this happened because the birds had ingested toxic algae. And last but not least, and the most horrifying of them all, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, this movie's
I don't know if I need to explain it because I know a lot of people have seen this movie, but it's about this horrifying murderer that swings a chainsaw around and likes to wear people's faces as a mask. And once he captures them, he likes to skin them and do stuff with their skin. So it's pretty bad. And this movie, of course, is inspired by Ed Gein, a terrifying serial killer that would skin his victims and make stuff out of their skin.
Yo, me and my brother watched that when we were like little kids.
What is the
Crazy.
Denver airport hiding? Beneath the gloom of the Denver airport, something sinister awaits. Its vast, soulless halls echo with whispers of a dark conspiracy, veiled by the chilling gaze of the monstrous blue horse, Lucifer. The twisted runways form a swastika, a malignant symbol etched into the earth as if conjuring the very essence of malevolence. They say the airport's birth was shrouded in secrecy, delayed 2 harrowing years and costing an extra $2 billion. A shadowy cabal orchestrated the chaos, hiring and firing contractors to keep the airport's true design hidden from prying eyes. The enigmatic structure conceals unfathomable depths, with 6 subterranean layers and 5 forsaken buildings lurking beneath. These cryptic chambers, heavily guarded by unseen forces, harbor secrets that remain locked away. Among the cold, lifeless walls lies a cryptic message etched into a plaque, the New World Airport Commission. Yet it's as if the organization was birthed from the void, leaving no trace of its existence. What malevolent force lies concealed within the Denver airport, awaiting the day it will be unleashed upon the unsuspecting world?
This was going viral yesterday. People in Fresno, California reported seeing these lights in the sky. Here's another picture of these lights in the sky. So I did some quick research and it's actually Venus and Jupiter really close together. So I can see how someone can mistake this as a UFO, but...
Yo, not gonna lie. So our local news reported on this, right? And there's a bunch of people saying that they seen the lights in the sky and then they vanished out of nowhere. Like, I didn't see it personally, but these are what the local people were saying, what they saw here in my town. So I could just imagine what other people were seeing.
It's actually Jupiter and Venus. Fun fact, the closest that they're going to be together is today, March 2nd. So if you live near the area, go check it out.
The Battle of Los Angeles and a true story of the 1942 UFO incident over LA. It was a night unlike any other in the City of Angels. The year was 1942 and World War II was raging across the globe. The people of Los Angeles were on edge, and with good reason. The Japanese had already attacked Pearl Harbor just a few months prior, and there were rumors of an impending invasion across the California coast. But on the evening of February 24th, something much more mysterious and disturbing would grip the city. It began with a warning from naval intelligence, instructing units along the California coast to prepare for a potential Japanese attack. All remained calm for the next few hours, but as the night wore on, something else entirely began to unfold. It started with a series of strange flares and blinking lights, visible to the vicinity of the defense plants. The lights grew brighter and more intense, illuminating the darkened city streets. Suddenly, the air raid sirens began to blare, sending people into a frenzy of panic and confusion. Then, just as suddenly as they appeared, mysterious objects began to fill the night sky. The objects were large, silent, and seemingly impervious to the barrage of anti-aircraft fire unleashed upon them. The sky lit up with explosions as the objects moved across the city, leaving destruction in their wake. The people of Los Angeles were in shock. Was this the long-awaited Japanese attack, or was it something far more sinister? The true nature of the objects remained shrouded in mystery, but one thing was clear: they were not of this world. As the night wore on, the battle raged on with an unidentified flying objects moving south from Santa Monica to Long Beach. The anti-aircraft guns continued to fire, but it was like shooting at ghosts. The objects seemed to have an otherworldly ability to evade detection and destruction. Finally, after more than an hour of intense battle, the objects disappeared from sight, leaving the city in a state of shock and awe. The next day, the government would claim that the entire incident was a false alarm, a case of war nerves, and nothing more. But the people of Los Angeles knew better. To this day, the true nature of the Battle of Los Angeles remains a mystery. Was it an alien invasion, a secret government experiment gone wrong, or simply a figment of the collective imagination of the city on edge? Whatever the truth may be, the events of that fateful night continue to captivate and terrify those who dare to explore them. Some say that the object that appeared over Los Angeles that night were not of this world, that they were beings from another planet, here to observe or perhaps even conquer. Others believe that the objects were part of a secret government experiment, a new weapon of war that has gone horribly wrong. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is clear: the Battle of Los Angeles was a night unlike any other, a night that will go down in history as one of the greatest mysteries of our time. And as long as there are those who seek to uncover the truth, the mystery will continue to captivate and terrify those who dare to explore it. Be sure to follow for more stories like this.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I've heard that story before, I've read into that story, but I did really like the way he told it. But the crazy thing that happened about that night, right, is I believe it was the next day or the next following days, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was arrested. And all of his documents were taken by authorities, right? All of his notes. And they say that in his notes, he had all these diagrams of UFOs or flying chariots or whatever you want to call them. And he said that he got those notes from Master Fard Muhammad. So why would they go and take all the notes from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? What did he have that they didn't know? Makes you question some things, right?
Movies to Never Watch, Part 4. This movie is called The Descent. Sarah, who is the main character, experiences severe emotional trauma and goes to North Carolina to spend some time exploring caves with her friends. But after descending underground, they discover something truly horrifying. They find strange cave paintings and evidence of an earlier expedition. And they then learn they are not alone. Underground predators inhabit the caves and they have a taste for human flesh. This movie is extremely disturbing and is regarded as one of the most traumatizing horror movies ever. My first time watching this, I couldn't sleep for days.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I seen that movie when I was a kid and that movie's crazy. If you haven't seen it, you gotta see it. It is kind of traumatic, not gonna lie. And it doesn't have a happy ending. Like, it just ends like on some terrifying stuff. It's crazy.
The chilling tale of the Atlas Vampire, a dark, unsolved mystery. Tucked away in the depths of Stockholm, Sweden lies an unsolved horror that came to light in 1932. Its mystery had yet to be solved, leaving many with a chill running down their spine. The case of the Atlas Vampire is an unsettling, spine-tingling narrative that will leave you reflecting on humanity's darkest depths and speculating if otherworldly creatures roam among us. Prepare to embark on a journey through the shadows as we uncover the sinister details of this spine-tingling crime. And remember, when the darkness falls, you may want to keep the lights on. On May 4th, 1932, the lifeless body of 32-year-old prostitute Lily Lindrup was discovered in her small apartment in Atlas area of Stockholm near St. Eriksplan. Her naked corpse face down on the bed had been lying there for 2 to 3 days before the police broke into her apartment. Lily had suffered blunt force trauma to her head, but the most horrifying details was yet to be uncovered. The horrifying nature of the crime became apparent when it was discovered that almost all of Lily's blood had been drained from her body. The vicious assailant had left behind a grisly calling card, a blood-stained ladle which authorities believe the killer had used to consume the victim's blood. This gruesome revelation earned the unknown perpetrator the chilling nickname, the Atlas Vampire. Police interviewed 9 of Lily's clients, desperately hoping for a lead that would help them identify her cold-blooded killer. Despite the efforts, none materialized, and the investigators were left with nothing but a chilling unsolved mystery. The Atlas Vampire had vanished, leaving no trace behind. Over the years, countless theories have emerged in an attempt to explain the baffling case of the Atlas Vampire. Some believe that a police officer was responsible for the brutal murder, using their knowledge of the crimes to cover their tracks. Others have speculated that the killer was a drifter, transiently passing through Stockholm, never to be found. And then there is the most chilling theory of all, that the Atlas Vampire was indeed a real vampire, a creature of the night that feasted upon the blood of its victims, a supernatural being that walked among us, blending into the shadows, leaving death and terror in its wake. The Atlas Vampire case remains one of the most disturbing and enigmatic unsolved mysteries. The horrifying murder of Lily Lindruff continues to baffle and captivate as the chilling specter of the Atlas Vampire continues to cast its shadow over the world.
Walt Disney's Ghost, huh? Oh, I see. Oh, I see it. Yo, that's crazy. Yo, these TikToks literally gave me chills. I have goosebumps. Y'all probably can't see them, but I definitely have goosebumps on my arm right now. They found a witch inside an abandoned house. What? What's he holding? Oh no, that does look a little creepy. And it just moved. Look at that. Hey, I'm spooked out. And it's dark out there too? Like, what if something just started running out of one of them doors?
Alright, let's talk about the Goatman. This is a very famous urban legend from Maryland. Now, this is apparently what the Goatman looks like. He's got the head and feet of a goat and the body of a man. And he's often seen holding an axe. This is an image from a supposed real-life sighting. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that
Now, one story
either.
says that the Goatman was once a scientist that was experimenting on goats. And, well, he ended up getting mutated into one. Whereas other people believe that the Goatman was a farmer that went crazy and started killing people. No matter what the origin story is, the Goatman is really creepy. And there's a bunch of people that have claimed that they have encountered this Goatman. Let me know your thoughts, though, in the comments below.
This is the dark,
Y'all believe in
sick
Goatman?
truth behind the brand Balenciaga.
Ooh.
Let's start with their disgusting ad campaign, and no, I'm not worried about the devil drawing on the top right. What I am worried about is the caution tape on the bottom left that misspells Balenciaga B-A-A-L. If we search up B-A-A-L, we get King Baal, who in the Bible, if you sacrificed your firstborn child to him, you would get riches in return, as stated in Jeremiah 19:5. Kim Kardashian wore the tape as an outfit. It was spelled correctly, but it looks like she's no stranger to the word Baal.
Balenciaga. Ball.
Balenciaga, 'cause I'm a baller.
This is Lada Volkova, who is the chief stylist of Balenciaga, and it looks like she's into some really sick things.
Yeah, she is.
Oh,
y'all see that?
Some people also believe this to be a skinwalker. What do you think?
Yo, this mug came out of nowhere. And it's up at the door. Look, looking inside. Yo, there's no way that this video is edited, man. Like, this looks real. Y'all tell me, y'all think this is real? What is that? Why you got the door open? Oh, no. You see his eyes?
Poppy, you were just stood there at the bottom of the stairs, weren't you? Yeah? And you...
Hold on. Let me read this for you guys. She waved and chatted to someone upstairs in the dark. I just caught my 3-year-old Poppy talking to and waving to someone upstairs in the darkness. You know, they do say kids see ghosts, so...
You were looking up the stairs into the dark, and when you looked up there, yeah, you waved to somebody like that, and you blew a kiss to them, didn't you? Yeah? So, can you come here a minute? Yeah. Can you tell Mummy who you were waving to?
No.
Why?
Because I don't know who it is.
Okay, well, what did they look like?
No, I was nothing.
Why won't you tell Mummy who it was?
I don't know.
Please tell me.
But it's nobody.
But you did wave to somebody, didn't you?
And I'm going to see who it is upstairs.
No, don't go up. Just tell Mummy who it was.
But I just want to go and see her upstairs.
Gonna go see her.
Was it a girl? Was it a baby? Was it a man like Daddy? Was it a big woman like Mummy? Was it an old woman like Nanny? An older man like Grandy?
I think that kid is confused at the moment.
A girl.
It was a girl.
It was a girl.
And what did they look like?
It looks like me.
It's her doppelganger, y'all.
It looks like me.
Was she young?
Yeah.
Is she your friend?
No.
She's not your friend, though.
No.
Is she not very nice?
No.
Is she mean?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Does she say mean things to you?
Yeah.
Where have you seen her before?
Nowhere.
So
They're really interrogating her.
At the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you wave at her and blow her a kiss, does she wave back and blow kisses back?
No.
No.
What does she do when you blow kiss?
She just bites me.
Whoa, she bites.
Sure that's not Apple?
No.
No.
Did this man predict the Titanic tragedy 14 years before it happened? The novel, The Wreck of the Titan, written by Morgan Robertson in 1898, describes
Predictive
the
programming,
sinking
y'all.
of an unsinkable ship that hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic, bearing eerie similarities to the actual sinking of the Titanic 14 years later. Firstly, both vessels shared almost identical names, the Titan and the Titanic. Secondly, both ships had a shortage of lifeboats, making it impossible to save everyone on board. In the wreck of the Titan, there were only 24 lifeboats for 3,000 people, while the Titanic had 20 lifeboats for 2,226 people. Thirdly, both ships hit an iceberg on the starboard side, causing a fatal gash that led to their sinking. Finally, both ships sank in the North Atlantic about 400 nautical miles from Newfoundland. Coincidence or something more? And more importantly, most terrifying.
Yo, to me, that sounds like some type of predictive programming. I feel like, the book was the script and then they went ahead and acted it out, similar to, when they make a movie about a book now.
Videos you'll never seen. This video is from 2020 and it was recorded in Bogota, Colombia. In the video, a man starts to hear strange sounds at the airport called El Dorado. He decides to investigate and this is what happens next is downright chilling.
¿Dónde estás? Se prenden las luces. ¿Estás jugando con la llave?
Look at that. Somebody playing with the faucet.
¿Estás jugando con la llave?
And there's nobody in there though. Look.
Necesito otra prueba.
It's a ghost.
Necesito otra prueba.
Look at that.
Ay, marica.
I'm gone. Look, he was scared too.
Let me explain this video because you guys are dying to know, even though I saw some comments people guessed it right.
What?
And no, this is not green screen, believe it or not.
What?
This is the top of an underground brick kiln. Places like Pakistan or India have a lot of these. Or it could be an underground oven as well, but a brick kiln is more likely. So no, it's not the depths of hell, but I saw this comment and it's really scary.
Let me read that. It says, it's the top of a brick kiln in Pakistan. I know because I have seen it and walked on it. Pakistanis are made into modern day slaves by the brick kiln owners. Some owners have even thrown their slaves into that kiln to something.
Apparently sometimes those kiln owners throw slaves into them to burn alive, which is really sad. Anyways, the mystery behind this has been solved.
There's so many surprising facts about Cleopatra that are just not common knowledge, like the fact that she was actually born closer to the invention of the iPhone than to the actual pyramids being built. And I just want to share a few more of them with you today because some of them are very dark. And a reminder, if you like the dark and spooky, you'll love the podcast. So first and foremost, Cleopatra was severely inbred. Most people have 8 great-grandparents, but Cleopatra only has 2. Like, look at this. So this is our girl, Cleopatra the 7th. So her parents had the same grandparents, and her grandpa was her grandma's uncle. She was so inbred that some historians believe that myths of her beauty were actually just propaganda, and depictions of her at the time show her with features that are much more exaggerated.
So she was probably
than what we
busted.
see. She also married her little brother and had him killed. But she also liked to have fun. Her and Mark Antony used to just run around getting drunk in disguises so that no one knew who they were. The Egyptians at the time also had many different forms of birth control that they would use, and this one was maybe a bit before her time, but they would mix crocodile dung with honey and insert it via suppository.
They're saying she levitated. What? Y'all think this is real?
Have you guys ever heard about the legend of the Fresno Nightcrawler? This legend started one night in 2007 at midnight when this man named Jose was woken up by his dog barking like crazy. When he went to look at his surveillance footage of what happened, he came across this white-legged, no-torso creature walking by his house. It also moved in a really strange way. Jose called the police after he saw it, but they couldn't do anything, and it went viral after that. People have seen the Fresno Nightcrawler in the Central Valley and as far north as Yosemite Park. Some say that this creature is a spiritual being that protects the earth from harm. This creature apparently stands 1.5 meters tall, so really short. This footage that he got has not been debunked yet. Some people think that this video was fake and that this creature was a puppet, but a lot of people think that this creature is real. There are sightings of the Nightcrawler all the time, primarily in the forest or on empty highways. I actually have a Fresno Nightcrawler plushie and I love
they make plushies?
him. He's handmade and from this awesome company called 16% Nation. You can actually get a discount on him from watching this video. If you use my code SPOOKY10, you will get 10% off your plushie and free shipping. Do you believe that this legend is real? Have you ever seen the Fresno Nightcrawler? Let me know in the comments.
Wait for it.
for, but...
Bertie. He always pushes it through when I'm sitting on the sofa. It's so annoying.
Why are you moving closer and closer towards me and almost in my lap, Bubba?
Why is it still in your coat?
She's ready to run.
What's going on here?
Don't you trust over there anymore, Bubba?
I'm all good, thanks.
That's why you moved out in the first place.
One of the reasons, yeah. Oh, God. And he stopped honking the oven.
Oh no.
You go.
I'm alright. I'm so good together.
Yeah, get together. Yeah. It always happens on Julian.
I just don't even like.
Pointed up the stairs.
Oh my. No. Oh, I don't go.
Yo, there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. No, I can't.
There's nothing there.
Oh, God.
That's a creepy looking set of stairs right there.
Oh no.
The heck was that?
No, 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 no.
You got some boiling water? There's nothing out there. And it stopped. Okay, that's trippy. I have no clue what that was.
Daddy, I have a new friend.
That's your new friend? Yep, go inside.
Meets pirates.
I gotta get the money first.
I know. Let me see. I'm not doing that.
Let me see.
I gotta get the money first.
Open the pizza.
2 pair pizzas.
Took the piece and they gone.
Looked like they took something out of his car also, the two in the back that ran off.
He
What a
didn't even
shame.
know.
Can't even earn an honest living delivering pizzas anymore.
Scary Statues Caught Moving Part 1. Now this man was in church when he caught this.
That don't even look like a statue.
Did it just move? Now some churches are known to come up with deceiving ways to make their statues move in order to get more visitors coming to their church. So do you think it was an animatronic? Check this one out though. Yeah, very creepy. So do you think these are real signs from God? Paranormal experts and video experts studied this video and concluded that there was no editing done. I'm scared. Like this video if you want a part 2.
Scariest Facts You Didn't Know, Part 48. Wes Craven got the idea for a nightmare on Elm Street from a real story published in the LA Times of a boy who suffered terrible nightmares and actually ended up dying in the middle of one. As Craven said, he told his parents he was afraid that if he slept, the thing chasing him would get him, so he tried to stay awake for days at a time.
That's rough.
When he finally fell asleep, his parents thought this crisis was over. Then they heard screams in the middle of the night. By the time they got to him, he was dead. He died in the middle of a nightmare.
Oh, no.
TikTok about a week or two ago, I introduced you guys to a dragon.
Mysterious
This dragon
creatures in the ocean.
You guys seem to really like that video, so I figured we'd dive into the ocean again today. First up, we have Sauce 90 and the mermaids.
I him. Where's she at? Oh,
Yo. Y'all believe in mermaids? There's a lot of videos about mermaids out here. Look at that. Like, I don't know what that is. It's clearly something.
That's the Toks though? Hey yo, you hear that? that is. That bitch followed me the fuck in.
So after all that and a lot more, his TikTok gets banned, and then the government shows up onto his boat.
Check out these motherfuckers.
Yo, that's gotta be real then. Look.
You're doing testing. Testing what? What the fuck are you guys testing? That's what I want to know.
Oh.
We all know Source 90 has heard certain things out in the ocean, and then my TikTok gets banned, and then the government shows up my boat. It's too many fucking coincidences.
Now let me introduce you to the Bloop and Julia.
What was that?
This noise perplexed scientists for over a decade. That noise was heard by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, in 1997, and it bewildered researchers for years. The sound was heard in a very remote portion of the Pacific Ocean near the southern tip of South America and was detected by several hydrophone arrays. The NOAA described the noise as rising rapidly in frequency over about 1 minute and was of sufficient amplitude to be heard at a range of over 5,000 kilometers or 3,000 miles from its origin. If it originated from the central United States, you would be able to hear it at the northern tip of Canada or all the way down in Colombia. This was a massive noise.
This is one of the top unexplained sounds, known as Julia. Julia is a sound recorded on March 1st, 1999 by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric...
Wait, I thought they said that it was in 1997 just previously. Now this one's saying 1999. Did I miss something? I might have missed something. Y'all let me know in the comments.
Administration. According to them, the source of the sound was most likely a large iceberg that had run aground off Antarctica. However, pictures from NASA's Apollo 33A5 shows a large shadow swaying through the southwest section of Cape Cod Ray at the same time of the recorded sound.
Now this and the next picture I'm going to show you were taken from Google Earth. Do you think they could be responsible for the sounds that we just heard?
Object really only looks like a big brown blob. Whatever it is creating an enormous wake. According to Google Earth's measuring tool, the wake is over 250 meters wide.
Bone-chilling facts you wish you never knew.
Yeah, what do y'all think that could be? That was a huge creature, whatever it was. Like, Julia, huh? Never heard of that before. That one kind of got me, man. I'm really interested in that, and I'm definitely going to be doing some research into Julia after this one.
Part 9. You feel like falling when sleeping because your heart rate drops nearly to zero and your brain sends an electric shock throughout your body to make sure that you are still alive.
This happens to me all the time.
It's actually pretty easy to create false memories. Your mind can make up something that never happened or didn't happen how you remember. At any moment, a nearby star could become a gamma ray burster and a jet of radiation could hit Earth and vaporize us immediately, and it's impossible to see it coming.
I can't believe what I heard and saw. Please tell me that I'm not hearing stuff. Let's see what they're hearing. Yo, pause. What are they doing walking down this scary, spooky trail this late at night? It's super dark out there. Like, and it seems like they are by themselves. Like, I wouldn't even be walking out there.
What if this man was murdered?
I didn't hear
inventing
anything.
A car that ran on water. Inventor Stanley Allen Mayer claimed he had invented a water fuel cell for use on cars. In theory, eliminating the need for gasoline and providing a clean and free energy source for automobiles.
Can y'all imagine?
He demonstrated his device on an Ohio news station using a dune buggy fitted with his invention, stating that only 22 gallons of water would be required to travel from Los Angeles to New York. On March 20th, 1998, while at a dinner meeting with Belgian investors, along with his brother, Mayer allegedly leapt up after taking a sip from his drink, running out of the restaurant screaming, "They poisoned me," grasping at his throat before collapsing on the ground and dying in the parking lot. Only a week later, the car and the fuel cell were allegedly stolen from Mayer's garage. Officially, his death was ruled as a brain aneurysm. But were more sinister forces at work here? Follow this channel.
That is crazy. They said that it was a brain aneurysm, right? And he's saying that someone tried to unalive him. That sounds like something that just recently happened with your boy Jamie Foxx, right? They said he had a brain aneurysm, but there's rumors coming out that someone tried to unalive him because he had information that you know, certain people didn't want out. So, and this was in the 90s. It's crazy how the stories are similar, you know what I mean?
For more strange stories.
Just like trying to.
Streamer Elgato was walking the sidewalk before a creepy man crept up behind her and began following her. Keep watching because you won't believe what happens next.
You gotta be safe out here.
This guy. Whoa, what are you doing? Sorry.
That dude was up under the umbrella.
Is he just like trying to.
Oh snap, you know it's real when they start speaking in their own language.
The fuck? He just started following me.
Oh nah.
And then trying to like, oh my god, I feel so disgusted right now.
In 1989,
I ain't gonna lie, I'm scared to be a
theme park in
streamer.
Mexico closed its doors forever after a mass disappearance of visitors occurred within its walls. The park was called Liminal Land. Logging on to visitliminalland.net, we're shown images that are both familiar and bone-chilling. An eerie sense of dread washes over you the deeper you dig into this mystery and its uncanny images. The website even has text that says to lose yourself in liminal land, something that I'm not sure is safe to do.
Right.
The password-protected section of the website leads us to an unsettling image of Moloch, a deity associated in biblical passages with child sacrifice, making this theme park's closure and disappearances much more sinister. Whatever happened at Liminal Land is still developing, and it seems we'll know the truth about what happened there as the mystery unfolds. I do question myself, though, as the website asks us, where were you when it happened? Follow this channel for
Yeah, I heard about Liminal Land.
Top 5 ghosts caught on camera.
I have.
When you see it. A mother and 2 daughters are eating when the oldest daughter becomes disturbed and frightened by something unseen in the room. The mother remains calm, questioning her daughter, but receives no answer. The younger daughter looks back and doesn't see anything, but then takes a second look and also becomes terrified. Both girls react in pure terror.
What? What? I'm scared. It's okay. I just turned off the lights, that's all.
Your kids be seeing stuff, I tell you.
What was that? What are you doing? Oh, what, Nanny? Look at me. What are you scared of? The fish? Oh, the fish died. What? Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. But you gotta listen to me. Turn around. Look at me. What's the matter?
Oh no, look. Oh, she frightened. What she see?
The video uploader Angel Louise says that both girls claim to have seen a ghost in the other room, even though nothing strange was visible to their mother.
See, kids see ghosts, I'm telling you.
Scariest Facts You Didn't Know, Part 1. The Colombian serial killer Pedro Alonso Lopez, who is known as the Monster of the Andes, raped and murdered over 300 girls from Ecuador, Peru, and Colombia. However, after he was caught and imprisoned for 18 years, he was put in a psychiatric hospital. There, he was reviewed, declared to be sane, and was set free, in spite of his blatant
That's the way to get out, ain't it?
He intends to kill again. Since he was released in 1998, nobody knows where he is or what he's doing. He is supposed to be 74 years old at present, and he is known for being the most prolific killer ever.
And he's just out here free. Things humans weren't meant to see. The famous Mona Lisa. Look what I found. They're saying Mona Lisa is Putin? That would be crazy. Alright, Jin fact. Do not stand undressed in front of him. Oh, man. A Jin will also try and come close to you.
Watching some show about...
Do not stand undressed in front of a mirror because a Jin, demon, can fall in love with you in your nakedness. And A Jin will also try to come close to you and can end up hurting someone who tries to approach or marry you. So, gotta be careful, guys. You might have a fatal attraction with a Jin.
I was watching some show about serial killers, and it said that the average person will walk by 11 murderers in their lifetime. And that got me thinking, which country has the most serial killers? Because obviously the average person, there's exposure is going to be a little bit different. Right. In 10th place, we have Russia with 73 convicted serial killers. 9th place is India with 80. 8th place is Australia with 81. 7th is Germany with 85. 6th is Japan with 96. 5th place is Italy with 97. 4th place is Canada with the first triple-digit country with 106 serial killers. 3rd place is South Africa with 117. 2nd place is England with 166. And I'm not even surprised by this, but 1st place is the United States of America with 3,204 convicted serial killers. What are we doing wrong?
Nasty fast food facts you didn't want to know. There's most likely other people's poop in your fast food drinks.
Ew.
Scientists tested samples from Burger King, McDonald's, and KFC and discovered that most of the drinks had traces of fecal coli in them. That's poop particles. Although regulation says that your drink should have 0% of poop, sample from different KFCs and Burger Kings had significant amounts. That poses a serious threat to diners. Fountain machines were tested too, and they had about 11% of E. coli. Some restaurants rarely clean their ice machines, and some restaurant workers that handle your ice don't wash their hands. Hope you have fun drinking poop. Like this video if you want a part 2.
That's nasty. In Australia, an abandoned wildlife park left a dead shark in one of the tanks.
What's good? Today we're going to be continuing our series going over the most evil children to ever exist. And the ones I got for you today are... these kids need help. First up on the list, we have Robert Thompson and John Venables. These two kids right here, wow. In the winter of 1993, these two kids became the youngest convicted murderers in the history of England. On February 12, 1993, these two young boys abducted young James Bolger, a 2-year-old, at a shopping mall. And here's the picture of them walking away with the 2-year-old. They then took the boy to a railroad track where they would beat him senseless with an iron bar. The last one we're going to be talking about today is Lionel Tate. On July 28th, 1999, Lionel Tate's mother was babysitting a 6-year-old girl. Lionel's mother eventually went upstairs to go watch TV and left the young girl downstairs with Lionel, and this would prove to be a fatal mistake. Lionel continuously stepped on the girl's head and then went upstairs and tried to say it was a wrestling act.
Ever had a cat or a dog staring at you for a long time? Let's find out why. Dogs and cats can sense or see spirits. Maybe they saw a spirit near you.
Never,
kind of
ever
thought
pick up a hitchhiker. So this was told to me by an old family friend, Nikki, numerous times as a kid growing up, as one of those life advice stories to keep in mind through the years. And to her credit, I have never forgotten it. Whenever anything associated with hitchhiking comes up, it always springs to mind and probably always will. Makes me a bit ill whenever I think about it actually. So Nikki, who grew up at the same time as my dad, so this was about early 80s I believe, was a young woman in her mid-20s. She's one of those real kind-hearted souls, always willing to help another out in a time of need, you know? And I can't imagine her being anything other than that when she was younger, so I totally see her doing this too. So, driving into the city, about a 2-hour or so drive out from town, she saw a man walking down the side of the road. As she neared, he turned and, in typical hitchhiker manner, stuck out the old arm and thumb. Nikki, bless her heart, pulled over and asked him if he needed any help. She told me that he was really polite, if not a bit shy, when he asked for a lift into the city. Nikki gave a smile and popped open the passenger door for the guy, who tossed his bag into the back seat and buckled up for the ride ahead. They talked pleasantly for most of the trip. About friends, the news, etc. you know, happy small talk. She felt that they were getting on really well and even bought him dinner at the pit stop a little over halfway there. She says he seemed really flustered and awkward when she paid, but one of the things they had talked about was money and how he was pretty dang strapped for cash. Which was why he was hitchhiking in the first place. But he eventually relented and they went on their way. As soon as they got into the city, he thanked her profusely for the ride and the food and asked to be dropped off once they hit downtown. Before getting out, he asked for Nikki's phone number so he could contact her someday and catch up. Thrilled at the prospect of knowing how her new friend was faring. Nikki wrote it down for him and drove off with the warm feeling of a good deed done. Now I'm sorry if you were expecting something creepy to have happened by now, but I think this is what freaked me out so much as a kid, how nice everything seemed to have worked out. Nikki gets this crease in her forehead and a funny look in her eye when she tells me the next part. How a week later she got a phone call from her driving buddy. He didn't let her get a word in edgewise after hello and told her that she should thank God that she was raised so nice, because when he first got in her car he was planning on raping and murdering her once they got to that pit stop. That he was going to steal that car and dump her body in a ditch further down the road and go on his merry way. But after she talked with him so kindly, and treated him to dinner with a smile on her face, he couldn't bring himself to do it. He didn't think that he could live with himself after doing that to such a nice lady. And to please, Nikki please, never, ever, pick up another hitchhiker. Then he hung up the phone. Nikki never got a call from him again. When she tried redialing the number she got a payphone. So, Mr. Hitchhiker, I know I'm never going to meet you. Because I'm going to listen to the advice you gave your driving buddy and—
Wait, oh my god, so zombies are literally real and you can become one. There's a syndrome called walking corpse syndrome. It's a neuropsychiatric disorder in which—
Wait. He just said there's a whole syndrome to where you can become a zombie? Since when?
person believes they are dead or missing a soul and their brain acts like it. A man was diagnosed after a fatal motorcycle crash. He survived, but he didn't think he did. Since the conditions are so rare, it's very difficult to pinpoint the causes and any potential cures. So if anyone becomes a zombie, very slim chance you can return back to normal.
This is the mysterious body snatching case of Brittany and Tiffany Wilson. Viewer discretion is advised. Brittany and Tiffany were popular socialites and daughter to Andrew Wilson, CEO of Wilson Cruise Liners. On April 24th, 2004, something disastrous would happen. The twins would hop off the surgery table looking like frickin' Shrek. On April 28th, the two would show up at a resort for a fashion event. Something was off about the two. Close friends noticed that their features had grown larger overnight. They were 6 more inches tall and were busting out of their velour tracksuits. It was reported that Brittany and Tiffany Wilson were doing things that they had never done before, like breakdancing, and forgetting the lyrics to world-renowned song 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton. On the day of the fashion show, crowdgoers distinctly noticed that there were 2 sets of Wilson sisters. Later that day, it was revealed that Warren Vandergilt planned to kidnap the two to use their ransom money in order to save his bankruptcy. It was alleged that he was MC Hammer broke. During this revelation, FBI revealed themselves and shot Vandergilt. So what do you think happened to the twins during this fashionista excursion? Was it just a case of botched plastic surgery? Could this have been an alien body snatching? Did the FBI have something to do with it? Why were the Wilson sisters so frickin' pissed? Or was it something else?
Yo, they are funny for that one because whoever put this in here, they gotta be trolling with that one. That's a whole movie right there. That movie's White Chicks, man. That was Marlon and Shawn Wayans right there. Yeah, that's funny. It's also funny because I just took my wife over the weekend to go see Marlon Wayans for a little stand-up comedy show. So that one was funny.
This video on the internet. Watch with caution.
These girls were in a carnival game. The strange thing is that there were only 3. Although for people appear in the video. Wait.
Scariest video on the internet.
Here's another scary encounter with the Serbian dancing lady.
Get it. Hey, get it. Hey. She going in. Yep, and she got a knife. I'm out of there. What's on her feet?
For those of you that don't know, this woman has been in the news lately. She dances the street at night, and when she locks eyes with someone, she will chase them with a knife. Now, I did do research into this woman to see if she's real or what was happening. And I found an article about her dating back to 2019.
How's she still out here?
This woman was spotted dancing by a hospital and police were called. However, when they arrived on scene, she was gone. Another witness reported that she was jumping into traffic and chasing people with a knife. I just posted a video on my channel about the disturbing truth behind the Serbian dancing lady. If you want to know the truth, watch this video. Link in bio.
What y'all think about the Serbian dancing lady? I mean, she has some moves though.
Like really late at night, I'm gonna scare myself in the process of doing this, but does something feel wrong with this picture? It's the last photo that we know of the Rio Rancho 3. It's actually 4 girls total on July 18th, 2016 who went missing in Rio Vista Park. Bodies were found in this location with, and I cannot understate this, grisly injuries. The most notable being that they all had their noses removed using a sharp blade. This photo, found on one of the phones of the girls, if you look to the background, tells a very dark story. Before we jump in, a massive thank you to you for supporting my podcast, Creep Time the Podcast. If you want to listen, go click the link in my bio. You can listen on Spotify or Apple. When police sharpen and enhance the photo, they looked to the background and they saw this, an unknown man who was there with the girls. Ended up working with a forensic photo analyst to enhance the photo as
Hold on, y'all. Y'all think that's a real photo? That kind of look Photoshop. He's saying that they enhanced the photo a lot. But that's a little tough. I mean, it looks a little too detailed because you can't even really see the details in the forefront. How are you seeing the details in the background? I could be wrong though.
Is possible, and this was the result. Still leaving the question, who even was the man who was after them?
I mean, that's messed up though, the situation that happened. No.
Was Eve really the first woman? Most are familiar with the biblical story of the creation featuring Adam and Eve. However, Jewish mythology offers an alternative tale, recounting the existence of Lilith, said to be Adam's first wife before Eve. Legend has it that both Adam and Lilith was formed from the same clay within the Garden of Eden. Believing herself to be equal footing to Adam, Lilith was taken aback whenever commanded to submit to him. Resolute in her conviction, she chose to depart the garden. As the story goes, God dispatched angels to convince Lilith to return, but she defied them and rejected God's authority, ultimately transforming her into a demon. Some interpretations even suggest that Lilith, seeking retribution, returned to the garden disguised as a serpent, tempting Adam and Eve to partake of the forbidden fruit. Consequently, the couple was forced exiled from the paradise. Now, Lilith's presence within the Bible is a subject of debate, with some scholars pointing to her mention as the night creature in Isaiah 34:14. Nonetheless, her true identity remains shrouded in mystery. Follow, because my next story is crazy.
Quick question, guys. Where y'all think Eden actually is, and how did somebody get kicked out
Carl
of there?
would get a job as an x-ray technician at a local hospital. An older woman walked into the office. She was there to get her 21-year-old daughter an x-ray of her chest. Carl just stopped what he was doing and stared at the daughter. And then he kind of broke out of it and he said to her, "Ma'am, I will do everything in my power to save your life." She said her name was Elena. And unfortunately, he would discover that she had tuberculosis. Over the next year, Carl would be in touch with Elena and her family on a near daily basis, but Elena would unfortunately pass away. Carl set up a mausoleum for her, spending virtually all of his time kneeling inside of it, crying. After 7 years, Elena's family decided, enough is enough. Elena's sister, Florinda, decided to go over to Carl's house and confront him. And as she's driving towards the house, she sees Carl, and he's ballroom dancing with this woman, and she knocked on his front door. It opened up just a crack. She got to see who was inside that house. And Florinda knew immediately it was her sister. She drove off to tell the police. And when the police went inside, sure enough, it was Elena. However, Elena was deceased and had been for 7 years. After her death, Carl said he was able to talk to her inside of her mausoleum. She told him that she wanted to come back with him and stay at his house, where he painstakingly attempted to restore Elena's body to its original form. He strung piano wire through her entire body, connecting all of her bones together. He replaced her eyes with glass eyes, and he began rubbing the special wax all over her skin. He also stuffed her full of rags. He would laugh with her, he would cry with her, he would sleep with her. He believed if he could somehow get her body up into the stratosphere, that the radiation up there would bring her back to life. Instead, he was charged with destroying a grave and removing a body without authorization. However, these charges would be dropped and Carl would be set free. As for Elena, her body was returned to her family and they would bury her in Key West.
Yo, that's crazy. He said he had to get her up to the stratosphere. I gotta look into that now.
So when he went to pet him, he realized that it wasn't his dog. Back in 1974, the Johnson family in Cincinnati experienced some strange occurrences in their home. Their teenage daughter Claire kept complaining of seeing glowing eyes outside her window at night and feeling like she was being watched. And then one night the youngest son Timmy was laying in bed when he felt the family dog jump onto his bed. But when he went to pet it, he realized that it wasn't his dog at all. The creature quickly fled the scene, leaving Timmy shaken. According to reports, the Cincinnati Crawler may have been responsible for at least 4 other disappearances in that area. Despite the various theories surrounding the creature's origins, the only evidence we have of the Cincinnati Crawler is a clear photograph that was taken before he managed to escape. This has left many people wondering about what the creature looks like in real life. Follow, because my next story, it's crazy.
Cincinnati Crawler.
So speaking about UFOs, so on the airplane to Bogota, Colombia, where I am right now, and we were just about to land. It was about like 20 minutes left. Then all of a sudden, I saw this object just like fly by really fast, faster than the airplane was going.
A veteran police officer named Josh Thomas was going to be working at the Capital City Theater. At some point in the night, Josh comes over the radio and says, "Hey, I need backup right now. Someone has broken into the theater." And when Dave gets to the theater, Dave would say that Josh's eyes were, like saucers. He looked terrified. He said that he had been doing security rounds and he had heard what sounded like voices when he was in the basement. He checked all the rooms, everything was shut. And when he made his way up to the 3rd floor, he saw that the elevator had kicked on. It was in the basement, and suddenly the light was on and it was whirring up to the 3rd floor. And when the elevator opened up, there was no one there. And then the alarm goes off. That's when he called in for backup. They clear the whole theater, no one's there. They go into the main auditorium where the stage is, and they're just standing on the stage chatting with each other. And Josh is facing Dave. Josh just suddenly stopped, looking just beyond Dave's shoulder. And Josh goes, "There's something behind you."
Creepy ghosts, man. I think ghosts
Dave
is real.
slowly
Part 2,
turns
let's
around.
go.
He can tell immediately what Josh is looking at. Standing in the very back of the theater away from them is a man standing in the corner with its hands by its sides. Its back is to them and it's looking down with a hood over its head. Dave turns his whole body around to look at this thing right as this thing turns around real quick and looks directly at them. It has these deep, dark, sunken eyes, and its face looks like it had been very badly burned, and it's looking at them before it just turns and runs out the back of the theater. Josh believed that that was an intruder. Dave was fairly certain that that was just another example of this entity that haunts the theater. But they would search the building and they could never find that cloaked figure again. Dave would do some additional digging on the history of the theater. It would turn out that in the 40s there was this horrible fire and a man had been trapped in the basement when the fire had erupted. And he had died inside of the theater. And so Dave would share this information with Josh. They believe that what they were witnessing was the ghost of that man who died in that fire.
That makes a lot of sense right there, It's the spirit of the burn
Did
guy.
you know that the Garden of Eden might be located in an unexpected place?
Hey, I just asked this question earlier, guys. We might get an answer here. Let's see.
According to scripture, a river flows from Eden and was then divided into 4 headwaters named the Pishkin, the Gilhan, the Tigris, and the Euphrates. Although we only know the location of 2 of these rivers today, it is commonly assumed that the Garden of Eden must have been situated somewhere nearby. But what if there's more to the story? Some people believe that an event such as the biblical flood of Noah may have altered the landscape of the earth, including the locations of the Garden of Eden. After all, if the landmarks and geography have shifted, it is entirely possible that what we think we know about the Garden of Eden could be completely wrong. But listen to
the more you know, the more you realize you know nothing. And this map right here, this map's a real map right here, guys. Y'all got to pay attention to this. I think this is from like the 1500s or something like that. But it's crazy. It's land on here that we ain't never even seen on real maps that we have now.
this. Some ancient maps of the North Pole from the 15th and 16th century depict a landmass with 4 headwaters emerging from it. These headwaters bear striking similarities to the ones mentioned in the Bible. However, later maps removed this piece of land entirely, and it was never mentioned again. Follow for more.
Like what I say, man, we don't see that land on these new maps. If you look at the old maps,
Scariest
crazy.
videos on the internet?
Did y'all see that? I think it was something up in the corner.
Right.
Yeah,
corner.
right there. I seen it. I definitely seen that.
This is a true horrifying story that took place in Ar'ar, Saudi Arabia. This story has also been aired on TV by a couple of imams confirming it. I will add the video source in the comments. A Saudi Arabian man from Ar'ar has 4 brothers. All 4 brothers are married except him. People always ask him, why didn't you get married yet? And he always gets aggressive when someone asks him about marriage. He hates it. He doesn't want to get married. So people knew this man is not someone you should speak about marriage with. A few weeks later, this man was invited to a wedding. In most Muslim countries, weddings separate men and women. The men's wedding was held at a farmland somewhere deep in the desert. As he was driving alone at night to the wedding, he heard a woman screaming, "Please don't leave me, please help." He panicked and quickly turned on Quran in the car. Every time he hears the woman screaming, he would look outside and see a wolf. The screams wouldn't stop, and every time there was a scream, the same wolf would appear. He eventually made it to the wedding, and then he told a couple of people what happened to him on the way there. On the next day, he tells his good friend what happened. They both hop in the car in daylight and they go look for that woman. For hours, they were looking. They found traces from the wolf, but they didn't find anything else. A week later, this man went to a majlis, and he announces that he is convinced to get married for some reason. And everyone there was shocked. You, out of all people, want to get married all of a sudden. Something is not right. He had enough. He decided to go to a sheikh, and he tells him the full story. I hated marriage. I always got aggressive when someone brought it up. One day, when I drove to a wedding at night, I heard a woman screaming for help, but all I saw was a wolf. And then a few days later, I was convinced with getting an arranged marriage. Please explain what is happening to me. The sheikh laughs and tells him, you were attached by an admirer, a jinn that was emotionally attached to you. She made you hate getting married. The night you drove in the desert, she was following you. She tried to possess you, but she couldn't. And that wolf you saw killed the jinn. Jinns are known to be afraid of wolves because a wolf is the only animal that can take a jinn's life. And when you heard a woman scream, it was the jinn getting attacked. And now, you are no longer against marriage because the curse you had was killed by a wolf.
Yo, that's a pretty interesting story. I can't even lie. It had me hooked.
But this place has a really cool balcony and like a nice view of the city. And sometimes at night I would go out and look at the sky just to see if there's any UFOs in the sky.
Me too. Oh, there's somebody in a chair. Okay, that's creepy. Oh, there's a shadow of a guy back there. Did y'all see that?
Now this story will give you goosebumps. This story takes place at a home that was built around 1904. One day, a guy named Henry and his friend Bill were leaving to head to school when Henry realized he left his lunch inside his house. Henry quickly runs back inside to grab it, and as soon as he enters the kitchen, out of the corner of his eye, he saw it. A shadowy figure standing right at his peripheral vision, watching him. Henry was hit with an intense feeling of dread, and in a panic, he yelled out a profanity at the entity. Henry grabbed his food and ran out the door, but still felt that uneasy presence the whole time as he made his way down the driveway. He climbed back inside the car and said, "Let's go." His friend Bill then looked at him and asked, "Hey, what about your brother? Is he coming with us?" Henry was confused and told Bill that his brother had been at work all morning and then asked him why he thought that. Bill paused and then asked, "Then who was that following behind you as you left the house?" What are your thoughts?
That's crazy. Somebody was just following.
So I have a story time I wanted to share with you guys that I had completely forgotten about until now when I once again hear footsteps from upstairs and I am home alone. So every morning at about 7 a.m. I take my daughter to school. It was already past 7 o'clock. It was getting late, so I yelled for my daughter upstairs and I said, "I'll just wait for you in the car." I very clearly heard when she said okay. I could hear footsteps going from her room to the bathroom, and then I heard the blow dryer turn on, which made me kind of roll my eyes because I'm like, great, now we're gonna be even later because you're not even done with your hair. I walk to the car. As I'm walking to the car, on the way out, there's a second bathroom downstairs that's right by the back door. As I'm walking past that bathroom, I see her coming out of the bathroom, and I'm like, what the heck, where did you come from? She's like, what do you mean? I thought you were upstairs. I heard you upstairs. Mind you, there's no one else that's home. I'm 100% convinced that we ourselves can haunt our own places with our essence, with our energy. It stays behind every morning like clockwork. She goes from her room to the bathroom, turns the blow dryer on. This morning, even though she wasn't upstairs, I heard it clear as day, her going from her room to the bathroom, turning the blow dryer on. I'm not hearing things. I'm not going crazy. I mean, at least I hope I'm not, but there was no one upstairs. How do you explain that?
Really strange story.
Hey, either she going crazy or like she need to get up out that house.
It was the picture that came out of the Varana cruise liner. Large ship that went down at the Atlantic Ocean in 2014, and nobody really knew why at the time. There were very few survivors of this, and the news kind of like mulled over this for months. They were doing deep dives onto the ship to look for very like sinister evidence and relics. Of those who did survive, they all kind of shared this very strange story because they claimed they saw something kind of unexplainable in the water. For a while, it just kind of continued as that. It was just a story. These things kept going on. Like people kept diving down there trying to collect relics, evidence, anything they could from the ship, and they found this. The phone of one of the passengers who died, and even though it was waterlogged for a long time, it was still semi-functional. On the phone, this was a photo that was apparently found. Leaked from an evidence bank in 2017, and it's hard to refute what this picture is. An unexplained shot of just someone standing in the water, eerily enough taken on the same day the ship sank.
Yeah, that looks a little bit creepy. I can't tell if that one was real or fake. It kind of looks kind of real though.
Lady is real. Now what you need to know is that this footage isn't new. One of the first sightings was from 2019, and it was followed with
oh yeah, we just watched a video about this girl,
Back then,
remember?
An eyewitness from Serbia claimed a woman wearing a national dress was spotted jumping out in front of cars and in front of people with a knife and making threats to them. Here is the footage of this woman.
I think a lot of you guys also feel like our timelines are messed up because so many people were shocked to know that Eminem and Picasso were alive at the same time. But there are so many more of these weird overlaps, and I could truly do this forever. And a quick reminder that if you love the spooky and dark, you'll love the podcast. You made us number 12 on the charts. First up, Oprah, Einstein, also alive at the same time. Barbara Walters, Anne Frank, and Martin Luther King were all born in the same year. Joe Biden was actually born closer to Lincoln's second inauguration than to his own. The last dodo bird sighting happened after the witch trials had already started in the United States. If he wanted to, Van Gogh could have drank a Coca-Cola while he painted. Nintendo was also a year old when Van Gogh died. And lastly, when Harvard was founded, they didn't offer calculus because calculus had not been invented yet.
My mind is blown with all of those things she just said.
These are secrets the police don't want the public to know. Part 1. Up first, when police pull you over, they will always touch the back end of your car. They do this to leave their DNA and fingerprints on your car. So if something bad happens during the stop, the vehicle could be identified and found. This technique has saved the lives of many cops. Next up, if you're ever taken to a police station, they will most likely offer you a glass of water. But you should never accept it. This is because they will use that drink to get your DNA and fingerprints. They don't even need a warrant for it because the glass of water is their own property. Next, if you ever see one of these on your car, you better be careful, because it means the police are most likely tracking your location. It's called a star chase, and it's launched from police cars onto suspected vehicles. There's a sticky substance on the one side to make it stick to your car, and a GPS tracker on the other. So the cops can always monitor your car and know where you are.
Yo, that's definitely like some Batman, James Bond 007 type stuff.
I have a scary story time that I highly don't recommend for you to play out in the open. Put your AirPods in, put your headphones, whatever you have to do. Just don't have this playing because it is very dark.
Oh
and
man,
you may
here
call
we go.
upon something you may not want in your space. The person who submitted this wishes to remain anonymous. For the sake of the story, we're going to call her Nelly. So this story took place about 2 years ago, right at the peak of pandemic time. Right around that time, Nelly and her son would wake up with scratches all over them. The scratches would always come in threes. They would also hear knocking at night that also came in threes. You guys all know what the 3 means. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is the D word mocking the Trinity. They then start hearing voices and footsteps coming from upstairs while they were downstairs home alone. The final straw was when Nelly's son told her there was a painting on the wall that was moving, so she decided to take it down, only to turn around and find that same painting set in the middle of the room with her sweater balled right on top of it. At this point, she decided to get some professional help and reached out to some paranormal investigators. At first, they came to her home to interview her to make sure that she wasn't having a mental breakdown and also to try to debunk some of her claims. After they were assured that she was perfectly fine, they decided to set up an investigation and told her that they would be back within 2 days. In those 2 days from the time the investigators visited the home, the activity in the house amped up drastically. The morning that the investigators were set to arrive, Nellie decided to drop her son off at the babysitter's house. Now, anytime Nellie spent time at that house, she always had background noise playing because she was always afraid of what she may hear. Being that they were getting ready to leave, everything was off in the house, and as Nellie was upstairs just finishing up with getting ready, she hears a woman's voice talking to her son downstairs. She yells down to her son and asks him who he's talking to, when she clearly hears a woman's voice say, "Don't tell her."
Oh no.
Nellie ran downstairs and went to grab her son. Now her son is normally a very calm and sweet boy, but the minute she picked him up and said it's time to go, he completely lost it and had the biggest tantrum of his life. She practically had to fight to get him into the car. His arms kept wailing. He kept trying to do everything in his power to prevent from leaving the house. Finally, Nellie had to set him down. The minute she set him down, he ran to the garden and picked up a flower. And in the creepiest voice possible, he said, "We have some visitors coming. I have a gift for them."
Oh no.
Sick to her stomach, she picked him up and put him in the car. When they were about 30 seconds down the road, it was almost like he snapped out of a trance and he went back to his normal self. They both ended up going out to eat. When they were out, Nellie's son did not mention anything about what had just happened. But unfortunately, in the craziness of trying to get her son out, she realized she forgot her overnight bag, which meant that she would have to go back to the house. Now I'm gonna have to do a part 2 because TikTok took away my 10-minute long videos, so I'll post this right after this.
Man, all right, I'm gonna try to find that second part too.
Can these duendes, these muñequitos, really walk? The video has about 3 million views. So this YouTuber is with friends and they're filming a video about duendes. Supposedly, if you hold their hands, they can walk with you. Es neta, they can also manipulate their face. In the video, the duende just like smiles out of nowhere. They put the muñequito above the radio and the radio starts to output some noises.
Se oyeron unas voces. Oye. Míralo,
¿Falla? And at the end of the video, there's a fan in the room that just turns on by itself. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit skeptical. I think I would have to buy one, these muñequitos, just to test it out. What do you think? Is the video real or is it just one's imagination?
Alright, y'all, I can't. Whoa, y'all seen that? And he just sitting there playing the piano, or I mean the banjo. I said the piano. Wow. Is there something out there trying to get the dog? Oh no, that's creepy. What the heck? They on bath sauce. They tripping. Yo, that last one was crazy. Hey, it'd be crazy. Like, what would you do if you see a little person on the ground? It ain't gotta be a little person, a big person or whatever, crawling all crazy like that, right? I'm gonna be creeped out, not even gonna lie. But yeah, these are some of the most scary and creepy TikTok videos that you probably should not watch before bed. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bell on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.